Okay, so in today's video, we're looking at another new batch of arrivals at Koi Wholesale. This is Hirasawa tosai Chagoi. So they say every pond should have one. A lot of ponds have. We've actually had a mass shortage of these in the industry, certainly last year and into this year, because they come from very few places, believe it or not. We've got Hirasawa, one of the main and original bloodlines. Marusei, very popular, and as far as Niigata goes, that's the biggest part of the production of Chagoi that goes out to Europe. Both guys simultaneously decided to give it a year off breeding, and all of a sudden demand went through the roof and we couldn't get any. So yeah, I've been on it for a long time, so I'm pleased to say we've got them sat here now. The 3,500 gallon pond has currently got 2,000 pieces in. These are sat at, let's have a look, about 10 to 12 centimeters at the minute. So yeah, nice size. The pond's pretty well stocked, but Chagoi grow so easily you don't need to give them particularly too much room or too much of a special environment for them to thrive. Now they've gone with Hirasawa, also known as Marusei, because it is probably the most, well, it is the most established Chagoi lineage. The father of the farm actually once told me that at the early days of him setting up the business, and he decided to start breeding the single coloured varieties, that pretty much the Japanese laughed at him. You know, why are you doing that? He didn't sell a lot of them to begin with, but you know, during that period, the guys from abroad started coming. All of a sudden, these single-coloured Kawari Mono became incredibly popular, and he asserted his dominance as the main farm for him at that time. The bloodlines continued to develop. These fish regularly hit a metre and beyond, incredibly fast-growing. Nice sort of tea-coloured Chagoi, more of the, yeah, sort of greeny, going on for brown sort of colour. You don't particularly get many of the deep, rich, oaky brown Chagoi from Marusei. It's just not what the lineage does. The tosai this year, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing so far. The heads look particularly strong. Chagoi and bone structure is something that's really important, because the bodies, and they develop so much size. With that size comes a lot of body volume. If the head part of the bone structure isn't set properly, what you end up with is this overpowering body and this small looking head, which isn't particularly pleasant. Now, I'm normally a bigger fan of Chagoi from Maruhiro, which is actually the brother of Hirasawa, this particular Hirasawa. He took this lineage and actually developed it further, and actually, for me, corrected that issue whereby the heads are incredibly imposing and the body actually tapers off a little bit. So as that type of bone structure gets bigger, the proportions are a lot better. But as I'm looking at these at the minute, I'm really happy with how the heads are set. I don't know if that's been an improvement or a change that's been made, but they're looking good, looking promising. So as for keeping these and the selection coming up, we've mentioned in two previous videos the Shinoda Hiotsori and Hoshikin Showa that we've looked at. I'll place links for both those videos in the description below. Size grading at this age is incredibly important. Now, I am happy that there's a lot of consistency actually amongst this as a batch. This is just a random scoop from the pond, but there's a lot of consistency. We can see some that are sort of smaller set in their bone structure, like that fish there, for example, just doesn't look as powerful and probably is never going to be. You know, we compare it to one that's a couple of centimeters bigger, like that one. Can already see there's just more power in the backbone, the head's bigger and more prominent. So yeah, there's certainly going to be a few, probably in this pond I'd say it's going to be a case of the smaller ones being taken away that just aren't competing, because I think on the bigger end we're probably going to have a lot more consistency than in the other two batches, given how competitive these all are when it comes to eating. So yeah, size grading crucial. When it comes to the actual quality side of the fish, my focus is really going to be two things at the first selection. We'll take away fish such as this one, you can already see it's actually developed a bit of sumi, almost sumi pattern. That this is where Char Utsuri as a variety comes from. When this develops in Chagoi, you just tend to get the odd few that develop it, you know, when it actually forms a real strong pattern. Fish like that will be rejected as we're looking for the cleaner examples, but my real focus is going to be just on the body shape and the bone structure, but primarily the bone structure. Big heads, nice little taper to the body, that's what I'm going to be looking for. Chagoi are growing machines, they really are. Obviously they're bred for it, this lineage is known for it as well. Not all Chagoi grow massive. I've known bloodlines in the past where they're focused more on the colour and the quality. This is a pure breed jumbo lineage, so you throw the food at them, these things are going to grow, especially if you get the environment right. Yeah, we can't really go too much more into it than that. Obviously we'll check for deformities along the way. It can be hard to see when they're this small, but obviously we'll get into that more along the lines. There's going to be multiple selections as the pond fills out, which it's going to. That'll trigger a selection, we'll take more away. Hopefully by the end of the season, the target with these is going to be to have, by about June next year, we'll hope to have about 50 to 60 pieces of jumbo tosai left at that point. Hopefully manage to sex them, because we'll be aiming to keep females where possible. Today I'm actually going to set myself a challenge with these, as I do with all of my grow-on batches every year. So our aim is to, certainly 50 to 55 cm by October next year is going to be more than achievable. But I'm actually going to aim to produce multiple pieces of hitting 60 cm. Given the starting point here, today is 10 to 12, that might seem like a thankless task, but I'm pretty confident we can get there. So if not, we're going to be damn close, and yeah, should be a fun journey. So yeah, in a nutshell, not too much more we can say about them. The pond's looking nice and full, they're in good condition, so we'll be looking to ramp the temperature up to 24 in the next couple of days. These are going to be fed a diet of sake growth only. We're going to be using the 3mm pellet initially. Important to get that surface area for the food to aid with the digestion. Feeding will be every couple of hours at that temperature, and we'll see what they're like when it comes to the next selection. Expect that to be in about 4 to 5 weeks time. We're probably going to look to reduce the stocking level by 50% at that point, and keep them going. So yeah, that's Hirasawa Chagoi. If you've got any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments below. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please hit the subscribe button. You'll get a notification every time we've got new content. And thanks for watching.